Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With Los Angeles Thieves plummeting down the power rankings these last several days, the questions have been raised: what change does this roster need to make? With a lot of traditional main assault rifles struggling so far this year, is it time that Octane gets benched and Kenny goes into the main assault rifle position? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, this Unbreaking Void, aBeZy did a fantastic job putting this together. A brand new Search and Destroy League, 20 upcoming S&D stars, just beautiful stuff. This will be on an awful lot over the coming weeks, so the Search and Destroy scene was just such a pillar really of the whole community, especially way back in Black Ops 3 was really the peak of it in my opinion, when Nick Mercs and all this type of stuff, used to watch it every single day. The last few years, the Search and Destroy scene hasn't really quite, thrived as much as it did back on, I guess, the better Call of Duties, but aBeZy and the Breaking Void guys doing their best to bring this back, so fantastic to see. Last night there were some results of this as well, so these were the teams that went through: Team Tupac, Teddy, Equip, and Tiny. So these almost like the general managers of the teams kind of dealing with these young up-and-coming Search and Destroy stars. So thought it was really cool, definitely something to keep your eyes out for going forwards. This is so far at least in this kind of S&D Invitational, the win-loss of the first kind of day of matches. We've got to talk about some cheating stuff as well though, because a massive discussion over the last 24 hours has been cheating's back on the menu. Now in the European side, Ali Season, apparently he's out of there, Luti, he's kind of the commissioner of European Call of Duty. If he says this guy's getting blacklisted for cheating, there's probably a decent chance that something was dodgy. Kind of goes through all the details here about what this guy was doing, hacking injector files, all this type of stuff. There was a load of replies from European amateur players saying okay, this guy beat me, and then he said GG's in the DMs, and now we're talking about the fact that this guy's cheating with all this type of stuff. So look, it doesn't surprise me that people in these type of regions are cheating. There's some dodgy stuff going on, but it's just frustrating at this point, right? But thankfully, there is a Challengers LAN coming very soon indeed, alongside the pro event of the Minnesota Open. So finally, some of these players are either going to get exposed, or of course you can't cheat on LAN anyway, but right, if they were doing something dodgy online, they're going to get exposed by dropping a 0.6 on LAN, and we're actually going to see who the proper champions are. But it's just the online stuff is very challenging. Now, this also, apparently this is a Warzone thing that might potentially also be viable in competitive Call of Duty, who knows? As Saint says, hell no bro, people really buying foot pills off Amazon to cheat in COD, never seen a bigger disgrace in my life. So this, I believe, was the clip that kind of came up, Saint kind of did a video explaining what his solution would be to it, and how they need to introduce a face-it anti-cheat type system, which I believe in the European side, they've kind of mandated that to a degree. If you want to play in challenges, you have to go through this process to make sure you're not cheating. That's kind of what Luti's been getting on top of. Now, this is the clip that kind of came out yesterday, that this guy effectively can run around, and you can see the foot pedal here on the floor. Okay, you're running around, you're looking normal. As soon as you get in gunfights, you press the foot pedal, and it just, it gives you aim hacks effectively. So you can run around most of the time without issue, and then as soon as you want, you just press the foot pedal, and then all of a sudden this guy's just getting smoked all the way across the map. So you look legit most of the time, and then in the gunfights, you do some dodgy stuff. So honestly, this is just incredible. I'm not surprised people are doing this, to be honest. People are always find just ridiculous stuff to do. But apparently you just buy this off at Amazon for $8 or something, and you're good to go. And as Center says, this video demonstrates why COD Challengers needs to mandate face-it anti-cheat. It's way too easy for any Challenger player to use soft aim tools that make them shoot straighter without being caught. Please consider implementing this anti-cheat immediately. So I believe the European guys have kind of agreed within themselves they're going to do this, or maybe it's in North America they started to do it. I'm not exactly sure, but still, the COD League doesn't mandate it. Maybe that's something that needs to be considered, because honestly, some of this stuff just blows the minds. But thankfully, as I say, there is a proper LAN coming up soon. The Challenger Open during Major 2 will feature roughly 6 European teams, 3 teams from APAC, 1 Latin American team. Numbers could potentially change. Not sure of the actual teams yet, not sure that's actually been announced, but the rest will be from North America, 96 teams in total. So really excited for this one. Alongside the main event, there's going to be a Challenger LAN for the first time in a very long time. I don't know when, I'm pretty sure the last Challenger LAN was, maybe it was the London home series events that had a Challengers LAN alongside it back in 2020. There was the Minnesota Open, right, as well, at the opening weekend or whatever they had, right at the start of 2020 also. Since then, it's basically been all online. And crucially, the top 4 Challenger teams from this event will be invited to the mid-season CDL Prime Classic. So I thought it was potentially going to be the top 4 teams, or the top 1 team from each region, as in the best Latin American team, best APAC team, best European team, best North American team. But apparently it's just going to be straight up top 4 from this event. So massively important in terms of who gets to the Prime Classic to play against the pros at the start of May. Speaking of the pros, these are the standings so far we looked at earlier today. The real surprise so far, I suppose, is Los Angeles Thieves here, right? 0-3, 4-9 map counts, an absolutely shocking first few matches that they have had so far. Now, of course, the question has been raised, what does this team look to do going forward? Because if they, look, as it looks right now, they're probably not going to get to the winners bracket. It's possible, but it's relatively unlikely. They play Los Angeles Guerrillas, I believe. They also play the Seattle Surge. And if they don't do particularly well there, they will find themselves in the lower bracket, which means they're probably not going to win the major. It means they're going to come top 6, top 8 once again. And, that would be maybe a death sentence to this roster, given their ambitions to be the #1 team in the entire game and to make every single Sunday of the season. So there was some talk last night on the reverse read as to what exactly this team should do. Aches reckons this team and Nature as an owner, right, and as an organisation, they're here to win. They're not here for top 6, top 4, whatever. They're here for the #1. If they want to become that team, do they have to make some sort of blockbuster move? Is bringing Pentagram in from the bench really going to make all that much difference? Do they have to make some sort of serious move? And the big discussion has actually been around Octane, right, as the many are underperforming, especially in Search and Destroy so far this year. Is it time for, well, of course, we've seen Clayster already get benched from the subliners, kind of a more traditional main assault rifle. Octane might be in a similar boat. Questions also raised about Slasher on Los Angeles Guerrillas. Could Octane be out of there? Could Kenny be the main AR? Could they bring in another fast SMG?
They have been, or LA Thieves, whatever you want to go by, they have been struggle busting. I think they're 0-4 in their last 4 games. They look like they have negative ice. They've lost every game 5, even when they have advantages. What do we think? I think there's a roster change brewing for this team. I don't know how there couldn't be.
Who's the sub? Pentagram?
Pentagram. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I love Drazah and I love all the guys on there, but I think Pentagram's pretty damn good, man. I think
I don't think they're gonna go Pentagram. I think they're gonna try and make a big move to improve. Knowing Nate shot, we saw what he did with his Valorant roster. Like, this team does not want to be middle of the pack. They don't want to be last. Like, this team wants to.
They'd be a
compete
fool not to
for
try him, Pat. I mean, Pentagram's a great player. He doesn't have much weakness in his game at all.
If they have an opportunity to get someone better, why would they try him?
Who are they going to get rid of? They're not getting rid of Envoy. They're not getting rid of Kenny.
To me, the only players that are safe are Envoy and Kenny. Only players that are safe.
Listen, I don't think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think this team needs to look at the fact that Sam's not working out. They're the worst S&D team in the league, and I think Sam's their worst S&D player. I think, especially in this game, as we have saw, a lot of flexes are starting to realize that the main AR role is more of a flex role anyway, right? You're being a hyper aggressive automaton player. I think, to me, this team is screaming that Kenny goes to main. They remove Octane and they pick up more aggressive players and more playmakers. I think that's one thing they're especially lacking in S&D. They're all kind of like these island, slow kind of thinkers and not necessarily in your face playmakers. And I think they do have trademark capability. I think Sam could improve some teams because he's a pretty good AR player. He's good in respawns. That's obviously not his issue, but I don't know. I think this Thieves team, they're 0-4, right? So they're almost guaranteed to start in losers for this this stage or whatever. I think they got to start thinking about changes. And to me, Kenny and Envoy is the only ones that I'm for sure keeping. I'm not necessarily sold on getting rid of Drazah. I think he's, definitely been a good player and has a lot of potential.
I like him on a flex. I think he's a good flex. I like Zach a lot.
Yeah, I could see that. But I think they need a fast sub. I think they desperately need a fast sub.
Because especially I go to the compound, right, and I see him scrim. It's a complete 180, their mood from the beginning of the game, right, where people had them top 3. They're one of the top teams, one of the favorites going into the first major. To now, it's making me worried because it just seems like they don't necessarily have fun ever. Like, the vibes feel weird. That's why I don't think you just swap a player out. I don't think it changes the environment. Ooh. I could be wrong.
So it's crazy to think this possibility would even be discussed going into the season, but that just seems to be the way that Vanguard plays, to be honest. As I've said a few times, the best AR players in the game are the likes of your Dashys, your Celliums. Zero is certainly right up there as well. Method's obviously on the cusp as well, but some of the more traditional ARs have certainly struggled in this game. Octane being one of them. I think we looked at his stats yesterday, has a 0.99 over a few of the game modes. Pretty sure there's no game mode where he has above a 1.0 KD, which is remarkable for a main AR, given the fact that Dashy has a 1.3 right now. Now, of course, Dashy plays it rather different to the way Octane tends to play his main ARs. Octane rather slower, more pre-aim heavy, whereas Dashy and the likes of Cellium and Zero, for example, very aggressive, taking a lot of channels with the auto, which seems to be the way you need to use the weapon in this game. Kenny is kind of perfect for that role, and that's the thing really that we've seen a lot of the other main assault rifles that have had great success on this game have been the kind of flex player of previous years. Kenny honestly could go into that role. We saw that last year Kenny inherited the main assault rifle role for a time over on Los Angeles Thieves. Drazah was kind of his flex as well, even though you could even argue it was the the other way around, given the way they are playing a lot of the time, because Kenny just goes rogue with every gun. Maybe that's what this team needs, to be honest. So who knows? But, you know, just so far in this game, the real discussion has been in Search and Destroy when Envoy's dead, they just do nothing and have no pacing at all. And, you know, could Kenny be the main AR? Would Octane be gone? Would be a remarkable circumstance, right, given the fact that they thought this was going to work out very nicely. But just the way this game seems to play maybe isn't working out great for that, right? So I thought it was very interesting what Enable had to say, given that he's there in the combat, right, and he's dealing with these guys a lot of the time, that, you know, he actually reckoned that their kind of vibes within the camp is very much different to what it was at the start of the year. There was a lot of talk from this team about they were really enjoying themselves, like at the start of the season, feeling really confident, and now all of a sudden, after a few bad results, they're feeling very much under pressure, like their spots could be potentially up for grabs by another player. So who knows what they want to do? Because there's been some talk about, okay, do you swap Drazah out? But I don't really think that changes the issues with this team. I do think Drazah is a solid player. I do honestly kind of like the idea of Kenny as the main, Drazah as the flex, Envoy as one of the SMGs, and then bring in another sub. Now look, who actually needs Octane? Does another team actually need a player like Octane on their roster? Like, I mean, that's a massive question as well. Whether a market for trades even exists here, right? Because, okay, obviously Clayster's there in discussion, but like, why would Clayster for Octane work in this case if they feel like most of the AR players in this game work if they are the hyper-aggressive ones? So I don't know what you guys think about this on the comments below, but yeah, just so far this game, what we've already seen with Clayster does make me feel like a minus Octane move isn't out of the realms of possibility for this Thieves team. And maybe it's actually the most sensible direction to move. And that's the thing, if the vibes in the camp are already not feeling great, like Enable said, they're not having any fun at all, like that indicates to me that a change is going to come at some point or another. And maybe a minus Octane move actually is the one that makes the most sense if this team wants to get better, just looking at the way the other teams have made their moves so far. But if you do decide to bench Octane and bring in another SMG player, like what options actually are there out there, right? Like maybe there's some trade opportunities in the league, but like, you know, what team actually, especially like, let's say for example, they do bench Octane and Clayster's bench, like do you think another team actually wants to pick up those players knowing like that there's probably a decent reason why these kind of AR players have been benched so far in this game? So it feels to me like there's not going to be great trade opportunities for these guys on the market, at least in terms of SMG players coming through. So look, what will Thieves do? I don't really know. They've got to be thinking about it though right now. I mean, Jacob loves a roster change, but I mean, yeah, this would be a pretty blockbuster one. So very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells the YouTube gods it's a good video. I just like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
Honestly, he's got top blue.
On the A-bomb.
L.
Well in A-bomb. It's not far.
Oh, you have this. L.
Was on A-bomb.
Fine, no, get off, he's side.
Dark side is a sub.
You got
Enemies planted the bomb at B.
Oh my god, 1v4?
Gross.